The All Things TechIE podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.
All Things TechIE podcast, brought to you by two tech junkies, Justin Dawson and Simon Lang. For more, visit www.allthingstech.ie for All Things TechIE.
It's the All Things TechIE podcast, episode 19, the Christmas / sort of New Year special. Simon's in a brand new location because this is Simon's new house, and if we tilt Simon's camera up a bit, we have to comment on this groovy picture that Simon said came with the house, which is a monkey reading a newspaper upside down, and we were trying to figure out what is actually on the box. Answers on a postcard to the All Things TechIE podcast, because we have no idea what it is.
No, there's a few letters missing because of the monkey's legs, so none likely. Someone would probably just go, that means that, Simon.
Or someone would probably say that we're racist individuals because we have a monkey reading a newspaper on our podcast. The animal rights, I see animal rights associations like coming after us now, Simon.
No, please not.
Please don't. You know, we don't have enough money to fund any slander or defamation incidents on this program, do we? So we love monkeys on this program. That's what we'll do. Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about bunch of monkeys. Well, we'll lead with our first topic of the program, which is Printergate. And now, for all our listeners, if they haven't been following this, our Irish politicians like to spend money unnecessary on a lot of things. Where they think it was necessary. How do we explain this? Okay, how much is a printer usually to buy in a normal PC shop, Simon? About 100, 200 euro? No, not even 200 euro.
It's probably about 100 euros you could get a cheap printer.
Yeah, okay. So spending nearly over $1.5 million on a printer has to raise some eyebrows, but it seems like once more Irish politicians have swept it under the rug.
Because this was back in like a year ago. It started, but it only come to light this year.
And this is the key thing. Once again, it's swept under the rug, and like you say, how does this actually make the papers, or how does it come up a year later? Is someone just going through the accountants, one of the accountants going through the books and going, you spent how much on a printer?
Yeah, there's a political, I think, is it audit committee, I think they're called, a PAV. Yeah, Public Accounts Committee, apology. They were the ones doing a fact-finding mission, and this is how they discovered it.
Now, I have to say, Simon, this printer is not like your normal inkjet printer. Like, we're going to actually take the photo and put it up, courtesy of photo of RTE News. Staff are understand to be seeking additional payment to be trained even to use the printer. Forget the $1.5 million that's been blown on this, right? The cost of a new controversial Dawson printer, where Dawson is the Irish government, by the way, plus the installation and other associated costs, came to a total of not $1.5 million, but 1.8 million, according to a new report. The report compiled by the Public Accounts Committee, as Simon was saying, by the clerk of the Dáil, Peter Finnegan, and seen by the Irish Times, has led to a lot of questions. The report found that companies that supplied the printer had to recommend a ceiling height in excess of the available in the room to tender its documents. Now, this thing looks like an absolute beast. It's like something that you would see like the monolith out of like a sci-fi movie.
I think it's kind of like something you might get in like not quite a newspaper printing, but probably someone who's commercial printing. A printing company, but I'm kind of going, what does the Dáil need it for? Because it does list in an article the kind of stuff they use it for, of things like printing letterheads, printing dull and political related documents and flyers and leaflets. Like, do you need a printer that big for all that? I do wonder.
Let's even say that the billboards that go up during election purposes, is that like about an A0 size in print? Probably.
Something like that, yeah.
Like that.
A0.
Now, if we went into an Irish printing, I remember I used to do a lot of postal and shipping in my old days as a teenager, and they had a couple of photocopying machines and stuff like that. But we weren't able to print an A0. But you go into one of our well-known printing companies, I'm going to name them here, Reeds, right? To print A0, and I say that to print a page in A0 will cost you no more than €100. So if you multiply that by even 1,000 per politician, sure. Hold on a minute. Like let's just rewind a bit here, Simon. Like, and we can't even justify this on an election purposes because each political party has their own sponsorship and own funding. So why would they be going to the dual printer? Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the political posters and all like that are done out of campaign funds, so we'd probably exclude those. But day-to-day printing of letters and letterheads. Anyway, how many letters do people send out? It's usually by email now, unless the government is still in the paper killing industry, or the tree killing industry. I mean, not paper killing, and printing on paper. So why haven't they kind of gone electronic as well? So it's kind of going, what's the need for all of this?
Exactly. This is like, we voted in the Green Party a lot in the last elections. How are the Green Party, who are very environmentally friendly, if you don't know what Green Party is, it's sort of in the name, they must be jumping up and down about this.
I agree. And like, when you see the figures being thrown around, like 1.2 for this, 1.3 for that.
It's actually it's broken out down into 5 lots. Okay, let's list these out to our listeners. A plate making device contract signed between Graphic and Paper Merchants Ireland on June the 11th, 2018 for 105,000 excluding VAT. Excluding VAT, 105,000. Lot 2 is a printing press contract signed between Comori UK Limited on May the 31st, 2018 for 808,000 excluding VAT, which is 848,000 less trade in the price of 40,000. Lot 3 was folding machines contract signed by Portman Graphic Limited on May the 31st, 2018 of 100,000. Then it has guillotines contract signed between Portman Graphic Limited on the May 31st for €63,500 excluding VAT. And Lot 5, a pile turner contract signed with Portman Graphic Limited on May the 21st, 37,000. Now, Simon, we study audiovisual, and we're going to put this in I'm going to try and link this in with an audiovisual concept. And if you were doing a big installation with audiovisual capacity, you would want to have going to tender, number one. So first of all, you ask yourself, as a public sector body, they obviously went to tender. And usually with public sector companies, they go for the cheapest price. How in the name of God was that the cheapest price, number one, for a printer? Number two is, when people come in to tender, hopefully they're trying to justify, instead of just seeing dollar figures for this printer. And number three is they would think, is the end user going to, and proper concept we talk about in audiovisual is the end user going to be able to use this? I look at this monstrosity of a printer and go, even I wouldn't know how to use this thing.
And the fact that they're being actually asked they have to train people more. And I understand new machines need a little bit of training, but the fact they're actually asking for more money on top of that to be trained to use these printers. It's kind of going, so what was there beforehand? Are they replacing something that's so old? this is totally revolutionary, or was it that the people, this is a whole new role, so these are new people being trained, so then why did they not hire the bright people?
Yeah, or why didn't they just outsource this if it's coming to this big cost? And surely it was outsourced beforehand.
But you see, the bit about it is also that the machine couldn't fit in, because this is where it all happened. So they had to store it in an industrial unit on the, I think it's the south side of Dublin, at $2,000 a month for nearly a year as well. So someone had to pay to just leave this sit here and wait until they could fix the building to fit it in.
We need to remind our listeners that this isn't the first time things like this has happened with Irish government. In the past, we have electric voting systems that never got used, that got stored, like Simon has mentioned, in a storage capacity, and then because the operation system fell out of date, they were sort of pushed aside and brushed under the rug as well. Even before that, Simon, I think the most funniest one that we ever had, but actually wasn't government funded, but National Lottery funded, was the Time in the Slime, the digital clock countdown to the millennium.
Oh yes, I only remember seeing that once in my life, and that was the time where they put a big clock with green figures counting down to the 2000 millennium, and they forgot things like the river is dirty. There's boats go up and down the river, so they keep removing it. So, and then they have to keep cleaning it because the river was so dirty.
And the reason they took it out was apparently that it started running slowly, counting down the seconds to the millennium. So, but
okay.
Yeah, but you do wonder, like in today's society, like we're 19 years on from the millennium, nearly 20 years on from the millennium. If they did something like that now, with the technology that we have in LED lights and better technology than 20 years ago, nearly, what could they do now?
And I kind of wonder, like just because
we're just projection map onto the water. That's what from a high building, projection map onto the water in the Liffey, and then it's dirty enough anyways to get a clear image.
Yeah, exactly. So it won't matter if it's a little bit fuzzy.
Just blame the water. So we're asking our listeners: have they heard of anything so bizarre as money being spent unnecessarily, and not even with the Irish government, but and even if you're a company like that, how can you justify turning around to a building that doesn't have the size or capacity or the training to use these printers and sell them this? I just believe that's wrong.
Yeah, exactly, and like it's just wasting money that's already in scarce supply, and they're trying to make ends meet. They say, and there's people out there homeless and all this kind of stuff, and they're more worried about spending this money on a printer.
Now, talking about state and moving on, nicely linked to our next topic of doing it for the state. I've never actually heard this expression before, but apparently it's a college expression. Bizarre story, 10th of December 2019, in the papers. A social media influencer has been sentenced to 14 years in prison over the plot to obtain a domain name at gunpoint. Rossi Lautaro Adams II, 27, only 27 years of age, built up more than 1 million viewers by posting videos of partying Iowa State University students on his website, doitforthestate.com. He then planned to expand his empire by buying the domain doitforthestate.com, but 2 years later, the owner refused to sell it to him. In June 2017, Adams drove to his cousin Sherman Hopkins Jr. to the home of the domain owner in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The men found the address to the web hosting company on GoDaddy's registration records, which shows just how important that if you have a domain name, to mask where you live on it and have your privacy settings correct. So he drives to the house, holds the guy at gunpoint, wanting him
shoots him.
Oh, yeah, shoots him. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And gets shot in the process.
And just for a domain name, he's been ordered to repay the court $22,000. Like, I'm sorry, but if someone was to actually make up this story, I would be thinking that what's the likelihood of anyone ever being held at gunpoint for a domain name? And the only thing I can come to mind is pornography.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, those kind of things. They kind of, no one say they're seedy.
Yeah,
So
see,
they're already seedy, and then so you're like, unless you have this website for a major gun running company or something like that. Yeah, I can't really imagine anyone chasing me down for any of the domains I have responsibility for.
and yeah, so just to reiterate what domains you might have under your control: church domains.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The church and religious organizations. So yeah, it's not like I have anything of high value to anyone.
And the same with me. Is like all we have is AllThingsTech.ie for All Things TechIE. Unless someone might come chasing us down, in which case they're coming to me because it's under my name. Yeah.
I'm out of here. See you later.
Out the window to make sure that there's no one like coming to me at gunpoint. But what a bizarre story. And then I tried to think of like some good examples of names that have been registered in the .com bubble or registrations that people have gone wild to get back, but haven't gone at gunpoint. I think gunpoint, this has to be the first story I've ever been shot at or at gunpoint. Do you remember the story of Mike Rowe, who registered Microsoft in one of the domains, and he actually was MICKROW, and I have a feeling that he was an Irish guy. I'll have to search that up. We'll search that. I'll let Simon search that up while I tell you the story. He registered Micro and he sold software, and Microsoft took him to court. And I remember a lot of the tech junkies on the internet started gathering together in forums to try and fund Mike Rowe's legal case against Microsoft. And I think Microsoft settled out of court by just giving him a load of free operating systems and Microsoft Publisher and Microsoft Office and Office 365 as well. We'll have to try and find that and put in the show notes.
Yes, I'm just looking here. It was back in. Sorry, I think I could read quicker in my head than look. Simon should learn to read and talk at the same time.
And
2004.
Was he an Irish guy?
No, a Canadian student.
A Canadian student, but still with the name Mike Rowe, which gave him the permission to register Microsoft. And I think that was very clever, actually. It nearly goes back to Supermax versus McDonald's in the Irish capacity, and Supermax never giving up the fight, and now I think can spread their burgers across Europe now. I don't know how I brought that into talking about food, Simon.
Yeah. I know. Actually, here's just a total random thing. I just had a quick look here to see what is the top 3 most valuable domains in the world according to Wikipedia.
Okay.
And it's voice.com, which is worth 30 million.
All right.
360.com, which is worth 17 million, and something else we won't talk about is worth 13 million. I just realized after I start talking is a pornography one.
I was thinking to myself, there has to be a pornography one in the top 3.
Yeah. So the third one is worth 13 million. So it just shows you the value of some domains out there.
360, I wouldn't think of it like as a much needed name of a website. For that.
Yeah, I know, and we try to get our bargain deals of domain for about €20, and you get it for 2 years or something, and people are paying millions and millions for some others.
Yeah, well, there you go. Interesting names of sites. Christmas topic. We're going to talk about Christmas topics now, as on the run up to Christmas. Also talking about what tech stuff that you should be really getting for Christmas. Have you actually picked out your technology toy for the Christmas period?
I actually don't have one in mind.
Wow.
I actually, no, I'm really bad at picking out presents, and I struggled recently with a birthday just to even find out what I could spend my Amazon vouchers on, and going, do I really need another TV thing? Do I really need another this or that? And in the end, I got some Wi-Fi plugs and and wireless chargers for my phone. But that was the most tech I got really in a while. So I don't know what else I would like that doesn't cost more than I can afford.
Yeah, that's it. But you know, the one thing that you did mention to me off mic was about Facebook's new camera that can be used on WhatsApp as well. That is the Facebook Lumi, is it? No, can't think of the name of the device now.
We're going to Portal.
I think $150 or so for the device can be with Amazon Alexa, I believe. But it doesn't, of course, because it's Facebook, it doesn't link in with Google Home yet.
No, and as you say, they're competitors. But yeah, the portals are the one I was looking at, which is the TV one, which I thought would be very handy for calling family, that are not here, and being that it's tied into Messenger or WhatsApp, which you can more or less do most things these days with. So I thought it's kind of a cool idea, but just not in the budget this year.
Yeah. Now, I think we both have Google Home devices, Simon. I would love if Google Home was linked in with a couple of more live streams. Like, I think I'm right in saying that Google Home won't open up like a Google Meet and with a webcam or anything like that if you were trying to.
No, I see. They don't have their own. It's not like they don't have their own proprietary kind of
device yet. Yeah.
Device. So that's what you're kind of because it can't link into anything. So yeah, it's like if they bought it their own. But it's the same in corporate environments. It's not just in home domestic. In corporate environments, there's very few things that tie into Google Meet as well. So you're kind of stuck.
Yeah,
with both.
Do you see Google being used more in, or most places have gone down the Zoom route now, I think?
Yeah, now it depends on your ecosystem in your work, all right. Because like where I work is a Google environment, so we're of course tied into all the stuff that goes with that. But then there's loads of companies out there that are Teams and Zoom. So there seem to be kind of like the three big players at the moment. But I would say Zoom and Teams is bigger than Google Meet for calls.
I have to say, I have to admit, I have not played around with Teams yet. Have you played around with Teams?
I've had a little bit, but not very much. Because you have to be in that kind of Office 365, Outlook, online kind of environment.
It's something that I would love at the next ISE to play around with Microsoft Teams. And so call out to all the Microsoft people that are going to be at ISE. You can show me Microsoft Teams. I have to.
But I did hear recently Logitech seem to be the ones that are kind of bridging a lot of these spaces. They have a new I think they haven't called like a meeting hub or something they call or something like that, which kind of is it's a tablet and it's a box, I think, and a camera and stuff like that.
I have seen Logitech come on leaps and bounds in the past two ISEs that I've been at. I really think they're going to be a competitor in the market. They're really pushing forward.
And I think what makes them so good is a lot of their stuff is plug and play. It just works off the straightforward Windows and Mac drivers.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have anything special to make them work. They just work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're sort of going off on our Christmas to ISE, but let's rewind a bit. And this is a great topic that actually the BBC brought up, and I'm going to steal for the podcast as well. Sorry, thank you, BBC. Should children be watching videos of unboxing toys on YouTube?
goodness, the amount of time
Yeah,
kids spend watching these is unbelievable.
but it's
Like,
it's it's crazy, like it's taking the Irish version of the Late Late Toy Show, and actually there was a great little cartoon image, I think it was in the Irish Times, just a couple of days before the Late Late Toy Show. Late Late Toy Show is Late Late is one of our Irish talk shows that's on a Friday night, and then every year there has been a toy show where they just open up toys. And I have to say, very good toy show this year. But the cartoon image was mommy and daddy watching the Late Late Toy Show while all the kids were on their iPads and smart devices or playing Fortnite. One was saying, I want to play Fortnite. The other one was on their iPad. And it's just like, is the Late Late Toy Show for mommy and daddy? And, usually it is. But, sometimes the kids get ideas. But it's taken the idea of the Late Late Toy Show here in Ireland and brought it to a new level because it's kids unboxing toys. And I think the kids like it because they're going, wow, look how many hits I have. And the parents like it because they're getting free toys as well.
yeah, but you see the one about in that article it talks about an 8-year-old, the original person, the first child to start doing it in the US 2015. Like he started unboxing stuff, and now they're earning approximately £17 million per year in partnership deals.
Yeah, there is one. Maybe it is this guy Ryan Cagey. When I went into Smith's Toys, there's a big Irish toy shop in Ireland. I think this guy has his own marketing brand of toys that stick his name on it, and it's a toy car and whatnot. It's sort of like taking away from the VTech or any of the other toys that you might go into to buy in a normal toy shop. But just because it has his name on it, it's adding any value to it.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're a person who sells toys, of course that's your job. You want to upsell it in some way to make it even more financially beneficial to you. So if it costs paying this guy for the use of his image, then I think if it was a toy manufacturer, I'd be jumping on it. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
But when you see the videos, there's not just some, there's hundreds of videos. And they're actually, what I think is surprising, they're actually on YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
That's where they're catching them all because the kids are using that and watching it.
Like I've seen my niece sitting goggle-eyed for hours watching another kid on the iPad, watching another kid playing with toys. And it's
building Lego. Watching them build Lego instead of just doing it yourself.
Yeah. Or like it could be my youngest niece and her older sister in the room. And one could be playing with toys on the other side of the room. And the other one is actually watching a child in a video playing with Lego, where there's Lego in the room with her. It's bizarre.
I just wonder, is there something psychological about it? More than actual kind of is there something that we used to get when we played with toys? They're getting the same stimuli or whatever from watching the kid unbox it or play with it.
Between unboxing and, like you said, you mentioned the figures there in how much these children are worth or how much the families are worth. Between that and kids playing video games and streaming it either live or on YouTube as on demand, I remember back in the day when I used to play computer games, and maybe you can relate to this as well, Simon, is you would buy a magazine because it might have the cheat codes of how to get you to the next level on the computer game. Nowadays, kids are just watching for the sake of, wow, that kid did an amazing move in, let's say, Fortnite. I love to know how to do that as well. But it's not showing you. It's not a how-to video. It's just literally showing other people playing the game. And then people donate money to keep streams alive. Yeah.
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 And they're probably actually the toy companies.
Here, Simon, you know?
Like, yeah, like when you look at this article, like it lists loads of families that are doing it. Like that boy Ryan having like billions of views of a video he did. And then you see another one here is of a boy dressed as a Spider-Man and wrapping and assembling a toy car has been viewed 276 million times.
But what about this girl? We'll put the links up on our show notes. 8-year-old Ava, who lives in Leicester, is hoping to emulate Ryan's success. She started her YouTube channel, Ava's Toy Show, when she was 3. What parents put their 3-year-old child on the internet? A video showing her unboxing and playing with the Barbie house has had 8.6 million views. But one thing that I do like is Ava decides which toys to play with, and then she donates the others to charity. But I love to know like how families would go about saying, "Hold on a minute, toy shop, I want free stuff, and I'm going to unbox it and tell you about it."
Or is it maybe the toy companies are actually trolling YouTube for the ones that are being influential and basically going, "We'll give you the toys." I think it's probably more than toy shops. Maybe I might be wrong.
Actually, I just scrolling down that article. There's a picture at the bottom, and it's called Ryan's World, Ryan Kaji, and I've seen his stuff in Smith's Toys shop, and he has his own branding and everything now. It's crazy. Yeah, listeners, tell us what you think. We better give out our contact details. You can visit our website at www.AllThingsTech.ie. Simon's at SimonLangAV, just so we try and remind Simon of his Twitter handle in every podcast. I'm at Justin or Dawson. We would love to hear your thoughts of this. Even whether you're technical or not, would you put your child up unboxing toys if, let's say, a company was handing you over toys? Personally, I wouldn't, Simon. I know why I have a toddler, but if someone was sending me audiovisual equipment and technology as an adult, I would love to be unboxing and giving my thoughts on technology. Kids doing this, I just think it's wrong.
Yeah, there's an interesting new idea: unboxing of AV equipment live.
Yes, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah. If you'd like to get in contact with us, whether you're any major or minor or just starting off companies, Simon and I will gladly unbox stuff and give you our personal thoughts on that. So let us know, www.allthingstech.ie. Talking about games, and like, I don't know, Simon, when was the last time you played video games? It's been old for me.
I got to say, I don't play like an Xbox or any of those kind of ones. The only thing I play is like a simulation one of The Simpsons. So that's the only one I've played, and I'm playing that now about 7 to 8 years. So that's probably So that's probably the only thing I am playing long term or ever. And I tried like the Harry Potter one, but I just lost interest.
Well, I have to say that like the Lidl and Aldi here in Ireland were selling like the retro devices, like the small little Nintendos, and one had a Sega Master System that had something like 200 or 300 games of the old retro games for €60 or €70. Still, I couldn't justify spending €70. If someone wanted to buy me one as a Christmas present, that'd be awesome, and I would have plugged it into my TV and played games all over Christmas. But I do like what Google are coming out with, which is the Google Stadia, and I have to say, this looks like it's going to be the new way of playing games. It's literally, it looks like an Xbox console controller. It does look like the Xbox controller, I have to think, and I'm sure Microsoft might be coming after Google about that. Plug it in with your Chromecast, and then you can literally play any streaming game. So you can go from your mobile phone or Android device or whatever it is to playing on your TV with the controllers, any size with the Chromecast, switchable. But people have been asking, and technology junkies have been saying that can Wi-Fi and streaming control the game in at fast enough speed? I don't know. Have we got fast enough speed for playing games online in a
Yeah,
like that?
because like everything you kind of read has this kind of little notes beside it saying this is dependent on your speed. This is dependent on this on your TV. Can you, because like it talks about having 4K HDR, 60 frames per second, like 5.1 surround sound capabilities, all this kind of stuff. But if you don't have any of those actual hardware in your house, doesn't really matter. So like I don't have a 4K TV, so I mean that means I'm not going to be able to get 4K resolution, of course, in the games if I was playing it and things like that. So it just shows you it is all dependent on your Wi-Fi, your TV, and your own hardware.
It does go back to the point that because of streaming, yet again, anyone could log in and just watch this game, and it's taking the whole streaming on YouTube or Facebook of playing Fortnite or any of these games to a new level of Google's just going to start buying into other video games and saying, but I do like the idea that it doesn't cost to have a console then. It just, now whether they're going to start costing for being a subscriber to Google Stadia or how it works, it's still yet to be seen. I think it's in its infancy at this moment.
Yeah, because at the moment here on their website, when you look at it, it just talks about buying the controller. But yes, I'm curious to see what the Stadia, to access Stadia, what it actually requires.
Yeah.
And what, like, are you expected to pay a monthly fee or whatever the case may be?
But I do like the idea that, even if it was a monthly fee, if a child got interested in playing video games, you could sign them up for a month, and if they didn't like it, you haven't spent €300 or €400 on a console.
Kind of like a Netflix subscription, really.
Yeah. I like if the internet comes to speeds, I think I can see this catching on. Here's a good one. What has been the console that has absolutely flopped in your lifetime? And I can think of two. The Nintendo Wii, I think, was the biggest flop and really never caught on. And the other one that I don't know what you remember, but I'm going really retro here and see, does any of the listeners remember the Barcode Battler? Do you remember the Barcode Battler?
I didn't even hear of it.
It was okay. You can imagine it would look like the Sega Game Gear, or that'd probably be the best way of describing it. Or the Sega Game Gear that was slightly bigger than the Nintendo handheld device.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. Yes, that's what I was trying to think of. So slightly bigger than that, but down the bottom, it had a sliding device, which was an infrared, to break it down technically. And you used to be able to pick up any barcode and scan it at the bottom. Now, it had no moving characters, but it had point system. So if you were playing a game of war against your opponent, which was the computer, you would collect points for the amount of fibers or something that might be in an ingredient, let's say of cereal or something, that will give you a special sword. I think the Barcode Battler lasted about 12 months a year and then flopped because whether it was supposed to be educational or not, I'm going to put some links up to the Barcode Battler on our show notes, but that was the one gaming console that I think absolutely flopped.
Because when you're talking about, I was actually, the ones I would have thought you mentioned was the Sega, like it's like the Sega Saturn. where
Sega Saturn. Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah,
where they were trying to bring it from a disc or from a cartridge to a disc, and it didn't quite catch on. But until I think it was probably Mega. Yeah, was it PlayStation were the ones that really kind of got that going.
Yeah. And then the Xbox versus PlayStation. I think PlayStation still has a big following, but having said that, it's sort of like the Android versus Apple, between Sega and or not Sega.
Microsoft is Microsoft X. There's Xbox.
Yeah, so Microsoft and Sony. And is there room for Google to come in with Stadia? It's waits to be seen on the streaming. I think they're coming in too late on that, though. I think Microsoft
unless it's a subscription service like a Netflix subscription service, I think that's the only way it will become a big influencer.
For all the gamers out there, that was our take on gaming. We're not gamers, so we can't really comment on it. We're just talking about our retro days. Well, and the old Amstrad and Atari gaming consoles, especially the times where there used to be cassette tapes. Remember cassette tapes? Yeah. We just lost half our listeners talking about cassette tapes. But for the nerdy folk, please give us some feedback. Samsung have introduced a new device, which I have to say I'm looking forward to seeing this at ISE 2020. At first, when I read this article, Simon, I thought, are they going after the barcode click share? And I'm thinking, God, how many people have to copy the barcode click share for barcode to come after them legally and go stop infringing on our copyright? But this is pretty cool. This is literally that a Samsung device, a smartphone owners of Samsung can go up with their Samsung phone, and if they're watching something on their phone, tap it off the side of their Samsung screen, and it magically mirrors to it. I think that is fantastic.
That's what people want. It's simplicity for the user, and that makes it just like idiot-proof. Because I often think about things like your Google Home or those ones say you're having a party, and there is a party mode. But imagine having a party mode where a person who has near field or something, they literally go up and tap the top of their phone off the Google Home, and then they can start sending music to it. They don't have to kind of connect to your internet, connect to your Wi-Fi, anything. That near field connection alone just makes them be able to speak to each other.
Now, I did mention ISE, and I was mixed mind on this. Would this be more for a residential setting, or can you see that this actually working in a business capacity where people are going up to the side of the TV and just going, boom, I want to show this video?
I think it probably is more residential, but I could see some business people using it maybe in small offices. You know, I don't think in a large office it might, but then you're down to an ecosystem of everyone has to have a Samsung phone and they all have to be Samsung TVs. Where in some large companies, that's often not the possibility to change all those two things at once. Like for us, we're a Sony and an iOS and an iPhone environment, so that's a massive change for that company. So I think it's definitely for startups and small companies.
I think for every company that might have this, the risk of IT security and AV security comes into play, where you can't just have someone walking through your building and go, I have a phone, I want to watch the video and tap and go. But like, you would be hoping there's some type of PIN system that can control this as well. Interesting though, and something that I will look out for at ISE. Hopefully they will show that at ISE. I'd say Samsung will have that on display. BBC iPlayer stops working on some Samsung TVs. Again, interesting study. A software glitch is preventing the BBC's iPlayer streaming on service running on many smart TVs. This was on the 11th of December. Affected owners may be advised to download a software update. Well, there you go. A software update, usually it's good to update your devices and hardware, keeping them up to date. But the patch does not work on some of the older models. We'll have to wait until the new year to get a separate fix. The BBC had said it expects thousands, if not tens of thousands, of screens to be unable to use this catch-up service over the Christmas as a consequence. Samsung said the problem has been caused by security certificates expiring on Sunday.
So that's an interesting one, because security is so important now that you forget about these. I come across this and work regularly where you have to keep updating security certs for different things. So, but that's an interesting one. This becoming a topic of normal everyday life, that everything has a certificate now. Your websites have a certificate and all like that. So it's an interesting, but I wonder, is it also a quick cop out just to say that? Because most people go, oh, okay, that's fine, even though they're going to suffer with no iPlayer for the whole of Christmas.
Now, I have to say, we'll put this up on the show notes. Samsung have been very clever with the error message and said, and it comes up, in order to continue using BBC iPlayer, please ensure that your TV has been updated with the latest software. Now, it can't be any more clearer than that. Apart, like usual error message that we see is the BYOD, the blue screen of death.
Yeah,
exactly. BSOD, rather, BOYOD, BSOD, blue screen of death, and usually an error code afterwards going, error 2017, and you're like, what the hell? But Samsung has...
Because when you're actually reading that out, my first thing jumped to my head was, who updates their software on their TV anyway? Probably not. Most of the normal Joe soaps out there don't bother. It's the people who needed something special for gaming, or something special who are cinemaholics, or who really are mad into certain things of their home, of their TV. But really, the general everyday person, I bet, never updates any software on their TV.
Well, look, even on a residential capacity and having a smart TV at home, I think I've updated it once. And I go, no, I never looked to see if is there any updates for the...
I think it should be automatic. I think most TVs should be automatic, or you're prompted to say, there's an update. Do you wish us to update it tonight?
Yeah.
When you're asleep.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and surely updates of this capacity, they're not gigabytes worth of firmware updates that you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs for hours on end. Now, I'm waiting for an AV technician to come back on Twitter or something going, Justin, are you mad? This happens to me all the time, But you know what? And it goes down the Joe Way route of AV as a service must die. That's one of those calls where you just go, God, some people might have contracts with companies where the Luddite technology person sees this message up on their screen and goes, it's not working anymore. And it takes an AV support call to call out to literally flash and update a screen, which might take 5 to 10 minutes. Or maybe I'm totally ignorant on this and just go, no, it's more problematic than that.
Now, I would also see that a lot of the TVs that I'm using and seeing are Android-based TVs, and of course, as Android updates its iOS and pushes out a new letter, or update, or version, the TVs also have to be updated. And as from a security point of view, we actually have to report back quarterly on the version we're on versus the version available on our Android TVs.
Have you ever seen any really problematic things from updating the screens?
No. It's actually the only problems we have with the TVs is end users trying to watch Netflix.
I don't know how to comment on that. Well, it's just like having I'm using a digital signage piece of software on an Amazon Fire Stick, and I think maybe once or twice during an auto update, it's gone back to the Amazon menu, but that's as much as happens with it, But and it's under PIN code if someone was trying to hack into it and change what's being displayed on screen. But I think a very simple way of doing digital signage. But again, the updates take a couple of minutes. Like it's not a big update. So yeah, update your screens. That's our lesson on that topic. Uber, though, Simon, has been banned this month in London, but despite being banned in London, they are offering all NHS staff, which is the UK medical staff, free trips over the festive period. And I was thinking, how does that work? Because aren't many of these drivers, independent drivers, but between the 23rd and the 27th of December, staff can get 2 trips worth £10 for free. Alternatively, they can opt for 2 Uber Eat meals worth £10. Uber's European boss, Jamie Hayward, said, "We all know someone who works tirelessly over Christmas to keep the NHS running, and this is our way of saying thank you." So I guess the drivers just get the money either way, so it doesn't really make a difference to them, like if Uber is paying them or the customer is paying them.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just probably trying to give themselves more good publicity with people, and no better people than with the doctors and nurses. They're seen to be helping the health service and keeping it flowing when people want it.
Yeah,
the most. So,
have you ever used an Uber? I've never used an Uber.
No, and it's really funny because when my brother, who lives in Chicago, came to Ireland, he was like, because that's all he uses in Chicago is Ubers. He kind of like went, oh, there's no Ubers in Ireland, and there isn't really. The most we got is our Free Now, which is the stupidest name ever for a taxi company. I'm sorry, and I'm probably going to be slammed for that one.
No. As we said, we're 2 tech junkies from Ireland giving our opinion. I just think that's the most crazy name. It's like you have a taxi company that's called Free Now. So you get into the I wonder how they haven't been taken to court going, but your name says Free Now, and I got into your taxi and you're not free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where I think it's probably more, where I'm free now to take you to wherever you want to go, versus I'm actually offering this ride for free.
But joking aside, and even if we're on the verge of slander here, but they actually joked in their own ads that this is the last time they're changing the name of their company. So it was My Taxi, and then before that it was Halo. Or is it the other way around? Halo and then My Taxi and then Free Now. But they've changed their names 3 times now at this stage, and I can't keep up. But I have to say the concept of Free Now and being able to get into order taxi through an app and have not having to carry money with you and knowing you're a taxi driver is great. As is Uber, and giving a lot of independent people jobs, but they have been slammed in the media, and especially in England, with regards to risky drivers, registered drivers, insurance, and then Uber Eats as well have been slammed as well through English programs.
So is there actually Uber in Ireland? That's something I actually don't know. Because there's Uber Eats, because we've got publicity on it.
I don't think there's Uber drivers. I haven't ever heard of Uber drivers in Ireland. And would you want to be one? It's the question.
Yeah, that's...
like there was a program on English television about the Uber Eats and the cyclists and their very, very simple training course of becoming an Uber Eats delivery person, especially cyclists. Like literally, have you got a bike? Yes. Tick the following boxes online. Okay, here's your bag, and off you go. But they were saying that I guess a lot of these cyclists work on commission. They were saying that they could be cycling to a certain destination, but if someone else is nearby, they can take the order beforehand, I think, which makes them all lose out. That's what I got from the program. Maybe I'm totally wrong with that, but minimum wage and a lot of these cyclists putting their lives at risk, like breaking lights and so forth. Like, there's no health and safety.
Yeah, I've just been reminded that Uber is in Ireland.
Is Uber in Ireland? Okay.
So now we know their call center is in Ireland. So does that mean they're actually here? I would hope. So presume.
Okay, listeners, we're going to talk to all our Irish listeners here. Is Uber in Ireland, apart from Uber Eats? We don't know. We're going to try and find out the answer of that for our next program. Simon, are you going to ISE, or are you still toying on the idea?
Yeah, I've committed to signing up for it, and so that's my first step of going. I was saying I'm going. I would like to go. Being it's last year in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
it's part of it.
I think they're going to go out with a bang from Amsterdam.
Yeah, and also it's just to see what else is actually coming up. I'm kind of thinking more future at the moment, and what's the next big thing? Is AR going to really, or VR going to take off a little bit more, or is it going to be more collaboration stuff? Is it about maybe in meeting room collaboration? Are people trying to do things simpler, cheaper, and make it more user focused versus complex and hard for them to use? So I don't really know. I'm kind of thinking and fishing around, and it all really depends on work, of course, and what else is what else is the next project down the line to be working on?
I think it's going to be more about voice control. I think, as you say, meeting room voice control, AR, VR, and I think people have got to the stage of going, wow, it's a new TV, it's 8K, it's 16K, it's 30. Like, pixel size of a TV now is irrelevant when it comes to setting up and installations in buildings, unless you are doing a big LED wall or something like that. I think it's irrelevant. I think people want the collaboration, as you mentioned, and make it easier, straightforward for the end user.
Yeah, and I think that's just it. Like, I know for us, probably voice control is probably not going to be a popular thing because it introduces a lot more security stuff. But I do understand certain places that would be very popular.
And I think the likes of Sennheiser and Shure are going to bring out more and more radio mics and ceiling microphones and stuff like that. That it's more simple to install, and more dynamic, and will spread over a larger area. That would be my predictions of ISE for next year.
And also, kind of like, I'm thinking along the lines of like, well, the stuff I do have installed, what are they going to bring out in firmware updates to make it then better without me having to buy more hardware? And especially what's Crestron doing in this space, and in terms of, are they adding new features, or is there something new going into their whole UC kind of the unified communications part that they launched last year with their sound bars and the Mercury units and all that stuff? So it's, I'm just curious more than anything.
And looking forward to seeing what Crestron brings out, but I hope to attend in some way, shape, or form, with the higher ed hat on with me, and attend the Avixa Higher Ed conference. I did some great training days going on. There's a full VR and AR day as well that I would be keen to see over at ISE, and of course, like, networking and seeing.
Yeah, And of course, like, because I'm actually even recently in just general networking with people, I've started to see a big rise in interest in CTS.
Yes.
In Ireland, there seems to be all of a sudden it's caught on here as a standard. You hear more and more people talking about VIXA qualifications and VIXA training. So I'm starting to see that with even people who are just graduates out of college, of audiovisual college, are already jumping on this, kind of going, oh, this is good for the CD. It's asking me, someone who's been doing this a little while longer than them, and I still haven't done my CTS, and I'm sitting there going, you should do it while you have time, do it while you have time. Don't get to where I am, where I'm struggling against time to do it.
Well, Christmas is coming, so it gives you a bit of time to open the book. Well, that's what I keep on telling myself as baby number 2 is in the house and being looked after by mommy at the moment. And I keep on saying that I'm going to crack open. And you know what? It's actually in my office. Look, for all you AV people out there, it is in the office, the CTSI. I'm going to try and actually get my head around the CTSI book over this break that I have from work.
I would love to. No, I have mine on my desk in work too for my just straightforward CTS, which I think is becoming even awareness from my management that this is something I need to be working towards. So hopefully they'll give me time as well during this 2020 to work on it.
Yeah, I just renewed my CTS the other day, so I had ridiculous amount of renewal units from attending webinars and courses and stuff like that I thought to myself, can I just spread over these renewal units for the next 15 years and just sign me off on a contract like that? I'm up to speed, but it doesn't, unfortunately it doesn't work that way. But I have something like 60 units when you only need 15 or 18 units over 3 years. But so signed off again for another 3 years. So I think the next step is trying to get the CTSI, because as Simon said, it's getting really popular now all of a sudden. I was one of 6, and I think it's now up to one of 10 or 11 that of CTS holders now in Ireland. So Simon it's the next one that I'm going to hands cold and get him to actually do this, listeners, and give him some support over the Christmas period of doing so. So we have a load of comments that we want you to come back to us on, of your best gaming console, your worst gaming console, the one that really flopped. Find out that is Uber still in Ireland in some way, and have you ever used it? What was the other couple of things? Oh, the how money is spent badly in AV or technology. For example, the printers that's being used by the Irish government, and could you justify, if you were tendering on such an operation, of the costs involved with that before telling them that the project is really dead in the water? Would you actually go out and seek the project? I think a bit of ethics come to mind on that. But from me, Justin Dawson, and from Simon, who is looking forward to getting his Christmas break. I'm already on my Christmas break, and I've been on my Christmas parental break leave since November. So I'm just rubbing that in.
I have another 5 days. That's all I'm counting. 5 more days.
Yeah. 5 more days. So Simon is actually playing Christmas FM in work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just to annoy people. Has the Christmas party taken place, Simon, yet? No,
that's later in this week. So that's going to make the last day very interesting when everyone is on Christmas party the night before.
Oh yeah. So hopefully leaving work early and not having to worry about any of the audio. I hope you have a good person to cover you over your Christmas break.
Yeah, and I have a whole team to cover me, so it's great. I'm actually free to just do nothing and turn the phone off.
And that's the proper way. But hopefully, if you are getting any cool tech toys, or what you think about children reviewing unboxing of toys, we love to hear your views on that. Visit our website, www.allthingstech.ie, or you can tweet Simon at Simon Lang AV, and during the tweets to Simon at Simon Lang AV, be pushing him hard to do his CTS. Is the message you're giving. And,
peer pressure.
Peer pressure. You know, nothing better than peer pressure. Or just throw like some really random CTS questions at Simon and see is he able to answer them. Is the best way of getting him to study. So he opens the book. But for me, Justin Dawson and from Simon, I think it's good to say that we won't have a show before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope Santa come to you. And actually, one thing that we want as answers on a postcard or emails or tweets is how competitive are you with your Christmas lights and Christmas decorations? As if you're in the I want to see photos, and so we're going to start a hashtag called AV Christmas Time, and maybe we'll put it as AV Technician at Christmas, and see what are the most bizarre Christmas decorations that an AV technician can come up with around their house. I think I think we can get this trending, Simon, on
this would be a brilliant one. This would be, because I think there'll be a few of our friends in America who will be very competitive in this space.
Well, see, like my competitiveness, like, was trying to keep up with the Joneses and just like put them all to shame, because I have some IT technicians on the street, and then at Halloween I decided to do a full projection in my rear projection on the front of my house, and with Halloween and ghosts, and this time, and I've only done it once because it takes up my living room with the rear projection. I projected like Santa's elves in the workshop, and I have one for Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve from about 5 p.m. I'm going to put on Santa like getting on the sleigh, and all the boys and girls on the street are going to go to bed early, I hope. Or either that, or I'm going to get a lot of knocks on the door from neighbours going, can you turn that off? Because everyone thinks that Santa is actually in your house. So we want to hear about what like lights and stuff that you have put up. And it's not even keeping up with the Joneses. And we're not putting it as a competition. We just want to see AV Technician at Christmas is going to be the hashtag. We're going to get this trending online. So that, on that note, have a great Christmas. And,
and thank you to all our listeners for the last 18 podcasts.
Yeah, and we're going to make it by 20 podcasts in the new year. Definitely are. We're not going to stop going. In March, we'll be a year old. So we have to pass the 20 mark before March.
The All Things TechIE podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.